Welcome back. This is the From A to Z podcast. I'm your host, PK Mukweni. Today, I have a special one. He has a background in social media management. He's working at Wonderman, and he's moved and made his way to a data analyst. This is news to me. I've known him for a long time. We worked right at the beginning of both our careers, while we're kind of figuring out life in our respective ways. This is 6 years later, around about. He's still my homie, and he's still in advertising. So we're talking to him right here on From A to Z. Without further ado, let me introduce to you Mxolisi X Tshabalala.
Sure.
What's up, X?
Oh, good, man. How are you?
Good, bro. How are you?
Man, taking it easy, taking it a day at a time. And thanks for having me here, man. It's such a pleasure and an honor to be your guest. But yeah.
Appreciate it, man. Now, no, this is my homie. We've spent many a lunch break sipping on tall, cold beers back in the day when I drank as well. Many days talking about life and music and all of those things. And we're going to find out all about your story, where you started in advertising, how you found your inspiration, where you are now, where you're going, and all of that. Are you ready to go from A to Z?
Let's get it.
Let's go. Pume Foslo. Let's talk about it. You're from Fosloras. Tell us about it.
Born and bred in Fosloras, the East Rand. Now they call it Ekurhuleni. East Rand. And since from birth, that's the only area I knew. Went to preschool around the area, and then when I started with my education, in primary, I was in Germiston Primrose, a school called Sunridge Primary School. And then after then, I moved into a school close. When I graduated, obviously, from primary to high school, I went to a school called Dawnview High School, also around Germiston, specifically in Primrose.
So you've been around the East the whole time?
Yeah, I've been around the East End all my life. But just to add on that, I do have, family around across Gauteng, across South Africa. So, yeah, but the East End has been, the most part of my growth,
Word. Yeah. What kind of kid were you growing up at Forster? Were you playing a lot of soccer? I know you wanted to be a soccer star.
100%.
Tell us about what kind of kid you were.
I was such an active kid, growing up. I grew up in a township or a street that's full of that's mostly, dominated by boys. There's not a lot of females, in my street specifically. And I think that's always been something that we always, we don't take pride of, but it's always been a brotherhood. Yeah, it's always a brotherhood. We're still boys till this day. We have a WhatsApp group just to update each other about what's happening, opportunities, job opportunities. We share everything in that group, That's my brotherhood, and that's where, I started taking interest in football, because the older generation of the gents, were always exposed to football. They'd play football. We'd also follow in their footsteps. Apart from that, I do have, I had 4 brothers. One passed on when I was very young. So I had 3 other brothers and 2 sisters, obviously, but I was more closely to my brothers. So, I think they also kind of influenced me into sports and music. And, I've always had interest in music, sports. I think the first album my mom bought for me was TKZ Family.
That's the same. I had the tape. Yeah, so I was in let's call it grade 2 maybe.
Sure.
That was like 1990.
Yeah, back in the 90s.
Late 90s, early 2000s. And my friend Itumeleng, I went to Yova Community School. My friend Itumeleng, he told me one day at break, he's like, "Yo, bro, I got the TKZ Family tape." He's like, "I'll borrow it to you. I'm like, "Bring it."
Sure.
Brought it the next day. He's like, "Bro, just bring it back tomorrow." I played it at home, and I messed it up. You know how the tapes used to.
Sure.
I didn't know how to rewind it properly. But
so
TKZ Family. But I didn't know that. I was in grade 2 or something like that. TKZ Family was the first.
TKZ Family was the first, and then
That's crazy. We never spoke about that.
Before, I think. As I grew up, I started, kind of finding or digging deep into or thinking or self-introspecting about what started this, music interest, what started the sports interest, and as I said, at that time, late 90s, TKZ was booming, you know, and in conjunction to that, my brother introduced me to Eminem. I don't know if that was a
same around the same time
thing,
as well. Yeah, was it a Marshall project? Yeah,
Marshall project or
that was
Eminem
so the years are lining up, guys.
Yeah.
The years are lining up. Yeah, go ahead.
We both resonate, I'm
Exactly.
sure. But yeah, I don't know if it was a responsible thing for him to do that, to introduce me to such music.
Yeah.
But I think as I grew up, I realized like, oh, this guy was actually meaning this, these songs.
Yeah.
I used to jam them without really knowing what he's saying, because, back in the day, there was not a lot of information that would feed or like feed the insight to what Eminem was saying in his music. And then, from a sports perspective, I think my household, I'm the last born. I forgot to even mention I'm the last born in my household, and everyone in my family was a Orlando Pirates fan. So there was this one day, it was a Soweto derby between Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando fan, and I just wanted to be the black sheep, and I decided to support Kaizer Chiefs. And I've had love for the team ever since. Even at my grandmother's place back in Soweto, there is, how they used to paint these
the house, the color of the
color
team,
of the houses would resemble
either Pagania or Chiefs.
Either Pagania or Kaizer Chiefs. So my house was more Orlando Pirates.
Even looked you like from outside,
from Orlando. So my dad is from Orlando East. That's where Pirates is from.
Yeah.
So like everyone in that side of the family supports Pirates. Even on my mom's side of the family, which is Gladi, they also support Pirates. So
So the sports runs deep, huh?
It runs deep.
What about since there were so many, I guess, kids in the family?
Yeah.
You must not have got too much TV time, or did you?
Well, so to be honest, when I was growing up, most of my siblings were like fairly old, so they were all taking up, let's say, maybe studying further or starting to work and just finding their feet in terms of the young adult life. So I did not grow up with them like closely as I did with the brother that's just before me. So it was just the two of us, and we, as I said, he influenced so many of my interests. So anything that he would watch, I would also want to, catch on that. So,
opposite with me, my brother used to make me watch cricket. And I'm like, bro, and he was 5 years older than me, so I couldn't really do much, bro.
Cricket. That's a special case, because not a lot of people at that age,
bro,
were interested in cricket. Considering that most of our family are mostly into football or other.
He got his colors in hockey and cricket and all sorts of things. So I guess it was worthwhile. Any adverts that you remember from your childhood that resonate to this day?
I think I don't know if I'm reaching, but it was a Space Jam advert. I think the movie was coming out, and there was a Nike advert that was, I think, in relation to the Jordan advert. Again, my brother was the influence, because he was a big Jordan fan. He was a good, I should say, 6 years older than me. So he was a bit advanced in terms of understanding advertising communication. And what I liked about him was he would interpret an advert and literally tell me what this advert is about. I'll just watch an advert and look at it as an entertaining insert between a TV program, but he would properly decode the advert and tell me what's the objective of this advert or why are they doing this advert. So I think the Space Jam advert stuck with me for a long time, because it was, he kind of explained that this advert was obviously taken up because of the promotion of the actual movie, and Nike and Jordan were the big sponsors of the actual movie or the personality starring in the movie. So that's the
dope
first advert.
Space Jam.
I never stopped.
Nike Nike boys
Ever since,
man. So what about let's move back to school for a bit. That matric time, or grade 11 to matric, where you're trying to decide what you want to do with your life. I know you studied PR at TUT, Tshwane University of Technology.
Exactly.
How did you make that decision? Was your family involved? Was there people giving you advice here and there?
Interesting question. So my family wasn't like really involved in terms of what I wanted to do after my career, but I mean, they always advised. So from my father's side of the family, there's a lot of, business related, like people are into business, or I should say, from my uncles, my cousins, they all, found their space into business. They all ventured into business. So, doing business in a way, I think back in high school, I just wanted to be in business, but you don't really, have an understanding of what part of business you want to do.
You have to have an idea.
So, yeah,
you have to have we think like in front of our noses at that age. Like, I just want to have a business. I want to drive a big 100%. Car. I want to, those things.
100%. So all the subjects I chose, grade 10 to 11, were all, in conjunction into business related studies. And I did CAT, geography and business. Same. I had interest in all three of those subjects. I mean, I was big into geography back in the day. CAT, obviously, I think
on geography, bro, till this day I can still like name the clouds and stuff, the nimbus, the cumulonimbus, all of them things. I just look up like, oh wow, that's cumulonimbus. And I mean, same here. I mean, I would use some. If I would see like some landscape, I would also, use my geography to kind of define, okay, this is steep, exactly.
This is a gradual slope, things like that.
I love that. So,
shout
out to geography. Shout out to Ms. Naidu. Who was your geography teacher?
Hectic, Mr. Kamu. Shout out to him. Shout out to him. His geography classes were so interesting. So shout out to him as well. And business, Mr. Kuchi. Shout out to him because I think he's the one that kind of directed my thinking from wanting to do business into doing PR. So I was a popular gent in high school. A lot of people knew me from football, from just overall, popularity in the school. A lot of people knew,
girls.
Man, I mean, equally, fair share, 50-50, girls, boys, everyone knew me.
Sure.
That's how I became the head boy, I think.
You were a head boy.
Because of how popular I was, So when people saw my name on the voting ballot, they were like, I know this guy. Sure. I'm voting for him. Yeah. But I mean, that was so cool. So Mr. Kuchi kind of, told me that you're such an influential person, man. Like, a lot of people like you. I think in terms of business, you should look into, PR. And at that time,
because you're able to influence people, basically, you're able to put strategies together to get a certain message out, to get
100%
your way, I guess.
So even in high school, from grade 10, like, we used to host events. The DJ sound thing has always been a part of me. So I think even with that, kind of planning an event for students, I did that from high school. So that's why my teacher used to be like, I get the events part of it, but you should also, look into PR. So that's when I had this passion of, studying further and looking into, obviously going to the PR field and seeing how that goes.
So how did you select TUT?
Funny story.
And also tell us about your experience at TUT. Obviously, you were Mr. Party.
Yeah.
Mr. Party.
You're taking me back, man. But I mean, TUT, how it came about in matric, how in high schools they always advise that you should, just for security and making sure that you get something next year, apply for 3 schools.
Sure.
So I applied for, my first application was for MGI, Midrand Graduate
Institute.
MGI, and the second one was, let me just do it in chronological order. First was UJ. Second one was MGI. Third was TUT. I mean, because my parents had promised me that they would buy me a car if I get a school around at Johannesburg, so I can travel from back to forth.
So that's why you wanted.
So I wanted to go to UJ. I wanted a car after high school, because I mean, most of my friends were buying cars after high school, and I mean, that was the promise. And then results came out, and there was some glitch in my results, so I was not in the newspaper.
I can't imagine that experience, dude. That anxiety.
My dad, called me telling me that, what, my son, it's fine, man. Like, you'll do it again next year. It's not the first time you fail. So, I mean, you'll fail a lot of times, but in failure, there's a lot of lessons. So you'll do it again. He was just kind of preparing me to not think negatively when people are celebrating and I'm in this dark space.
Especially around what happens around that time with young kids not being able to cope with that pressure and doing things,
people are getting their results. But in me, you know, when that happened, I was like, no, I didn't fail. I know I did not fail. I knew I did. So I was like, you know what? Plus, you know, with the added pressure, that I was the head boy, so everyone wanted to see my name. You know,
can't
people
imagine,
didn't see my
brother.
name. So it was. I mean, it even landed on the conversation kind of landed on Facebook for some time. Like, hey, where's Mxolisi? Someone commented on someone else's post when they took a picture of their name, and they was like, how? I can't see Mxolisi. But
how can the head boy not?
How can head boy not make it?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
And it's not like you didn't try. Like you said, you knew.
I knew
that you
because I
you
studied
passed.
and I did everything correctly.
What was the glitch? What happened?
So I think this, for you know, the younger generation, they should watch this and make sure that they don't do the same mistake. You know, before the big exams, the national exams, they give you rules that, okay, please don't write on your hand. Let's say if it was actually a paper 2 English, poems and literature. So they tell you, we give you an extra piece of paper for you to make sure that you write your rough notes and just to compare.
Yep.
And when I was studying, I always had this habit of writing things on my hand. So while I was writing on my hand, one of the invigilators, you know, caught me saying they thought I was cheating. And at that time I thought, okay, cool. They stopped me for a while and they said, okay, what's happening? And I explained to them, okay, this is what's happening. I was like, oh, okay. One of them was like, yeah, I actually saw you write. And I was like, I wanted to tell you, but I didn't want to
cheat on that paper though.
Exactly. How do you cheat on paper too? You know, English. But that was my thinking behind it. And then, you know, every time I don't want to drag on the story, but when the papers come out, you know, the results via paper come out, you have to go to your school to get the statement.
Yes.
And that's when the universities are calling to get your statement. So UJ called me and told me that we can't, for some odd reason, you did not fail, but we can't see your marks for some odd reasons, and your space is going to get filled up. Yeah. So we're going to give you 2 weeks for you to sort your thing out and then just submit the statement so we can go through with the process of you applying and getting a position in our school. And it was all for PR, hey? And yeah, I mean, I got to the school, and when I got the statement, literally my English marks weren't there. So that's the glitch.
That was the glitch.
So it was being investigated by the Department of Education, which was such a stressful period in my life because I did not know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
You know, when I spoke to the principal, he told me that these things can take 6 months to a year to kind of, you know, solve. But they just directed me where to go. I think there's this other place in Bram, just the same street with Kitcheners.
Sure.
There is a Department of Education.
Is it?
It's hectic, yeah. I mean, that's where I knew Bram in a way. And then my mom and I drove to that department. And when we got the head of that institution, said, yeah, we actually got your case and we wanted to look into it. Our logic says no one can cheat paper 2 unless you had an inside person telling you what's going to be there. Yeah. And just looking at your background, you don't have anyone who's in the education system in your family. And looking at the fact that you're also like the head boy, you know, the school wouldn't choose, you know, somebody who's
trustable and dependable.
They always choose someone who's trustworthy and reliable. So they were like, you know what, we're not gonna waste a lot of time here. But at that time, UJ called me and said, unfortunately, we filled up the space. Cool, that's gone. But TUT is like, TUT, yes, actually, that was a blessing in disguise.
So that's how
it's because of how the school is not mismanaged, because of how delays happen every time there's registration period. Beginning of the year, TUT students struggle to get space or registration because of, I think, the process is around, and there's a lot of people that just flock there and try to get space. So that's why they extend the period. You know, so they extended the period for me. So yeah, the guy, the head of the department there, literally explained to me, like, you know what, I actually know someone at TUT. I'll give him a call, and then you just go straight to them, since you say you did apply and it's a bit late, but you just go straight to them and said, I referred you. And yeah, just take it from there. And then that's how I landed up in Pretoria. An opposite neighbor of mine was doing his second year in IT. And I left with him from the hood. And yeah, we went to TUT and he just showed me around, okay, this is the office you need to go. Because I had to use his tag to go in because I was a nobody.
You were a student there.
So yeah, I mean, everything worked well there. They said, okay, they said we received your application. All good. Let's go through with the process, go through with your induction. I was one of the last people to go through the induction. And yeah, I mean, that's how it happened.
Sure. Now we know how you got in to TUT. Tell us about your experience there. How do you find the course? would you suggest people study PR? Tell us about it.
I mean, if it's part of your interest, I would suggest you go there. And I think TT, especially the department, the PR and communications department, it's all the way in Soshanguve. So at first, when I was told about university, you watch these movies, American Pie, where they kind of depict
campus
student campus life. And when I went to the main campus, which is in the city of Pretoria, I was like, yeah, this is where I want to be. And I was told that no, you actually need to be in Soshanguve. The campus is in Soshanguve. I've never been there all my life. I'm from a township, and now I'm going to go to school in a township. That's what I was trying to avoid. But hey, I went there. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't impressed. First day there, I'm literally in the hood.
You're like,
I thought I made it out the hood. I'm back in the hood now. But that's from the outside and looking in, and then from the inside looking out. When you go into the campus and they take you around, the classes, the institution, the facilities that they have, soccer fields, computer classes, all of that. I was mind blown actually to see like the kind of access that they have in that school. And consider that it's in a township, when you look at it, you just have this perception that
the facility, but the facilities are still good.
Was good. Yeah, it was top notch. And I mean, a lot of journalists, in South Africa are from the actual institution, because even journalism was in Soshanguve. So everything comes related actually. So I got there. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed my time there. I found a lot about myself, and I mean, first week of the school, the class just nominated me to be the class representative.
Sure.
I
know you've always been that guy.
I don't know. Maybe it's just got something to do of how talkative I am, and I mean, everyone just knew me, and that's where that's where I got my nickname. I've always got the nickname Kazi. Brother's blood, or Muntu Abantu, I should say. So from there on, I'm not going to lie, I enjoyed the information that they gave us, the access, the tools, they equipped us. It's just when you're in university, you have this feeling that after here you're going to have your big break and start working just right after you're going to get an internship, and that's how it plays out. But to your surprise, as you grow older, you realize that a lot of things you need to be active into changing your journey and facilitating what you want to do.
So after you graduated, what was that first, job that you got?
So I graduated. Okay, so let me just say, in TUT, there's this thing, these practicals that you have. So as part of the practicals, I moved back to the East Rand, my third year, and that was when I was doing the practical. So just to step back a little bit, I did a diploma first at TUT, and the practical, they assigned you to a non-governmental organization.
I think you were at Cancer.
I was at Cancer in Bedford. And from there, I kept on applying. I think it's the last part of your studies. I think the 6 months. That's where you just do your reporting on how you're doing it. Like, you just analyze their communications ways, what tools do they use, what platforms, what channels, and all of that. You just kind of analyze and you apply the theories that you've learned into helping them better their strategies, better their communications and activities. So I was on the sides, I was busy, applying for internships for all these good, like these big brands that I've always wanted to work for, big banking industries and all of that. And I mean, I did not get any replies. So then I decided, I want to further my studies. So at that time in TUT, they have this thing where you do your BTech in 2 years. And I mean, I was pretty comfortable with furthering my studies since I was not getting any opportunities. So I did.
Might as well use your time.
Might as well use my time effectively, And at that time, first year, I realized that I only spent 50% on student stuff, and that's when I was, starting out my events company in a way, because there was not much I was doing. So I decided, with the spare time, my friends and I started a car wash where we would host, a quarterly events, the whole shebang. So even with that, I wasn't really, satisfied, because people I grew up started getting jobs, or when I went to university, they started working, so they were more advanced and they had a salary.
We'll get more into that.
And then I realized that what, while I'm doing my BTech, I just need to get some like a proper job, and ever since then I've been working.
Yes. So is that when you, after Cancer Association, is that when you landed at Aqua at the time?
No. Cancer Association, I graduated from my diploma, cool. Then the next year started with my BTech, the first year of my BTech, while doing events on the side. And then
I'm trying to figure out when I met you, because that's
you meet
me. We'll fast forward to Aqua, because I remember I think you were
years into this.
it was 2016. 2016. So
started Aqua,
you started at Aqua. I think you were replacing somebody on the team
Penyo, actually he was my roommate in
yes, exactly. And you were actually on the night shift on MTN. So please tell us a bit about that time when you landed at Aqua working night shift on MTN. I think we only met each other like 3 months later. Like we'd walk past each other and everything, but we were never like in the same space until they moved around the seating thing, and then this is my homie right here. Tell us how you landed at Aqua and all of that.
Okay, so I do that BTech. The second year of the BTech, I decided, what, I need money, because now I'm dating. I have a girl and she's working, and obviously, economically wise, it's not advisable to be a broke guy.
No, definitely not.
Being a broke dude, So I started working at a call center, South Sea, in Johannesburg, CBD Johannesburg. The roughness.
Sure.
Yeah. But after, I think 6 months of working there, I had an opportunity. I was actually poached by a DSTV agent, someone who hires people for call center people for DSTV. So they poached me and said, you know what, we heard you are one of the top, call center agents at South Sea, would like to offer you. So I was like, okay, cool. And it was a bit better, I'm not going to lie. And when they started with shift planning, they put me into the night shift because I was still going to school, remember. So I was in the night shift. I was used to, doing night shift. That's when I started learning how to driving my parents' car, so that I can go to work and back home because of these abnormal hours. While doing that, I was, kind of leaning or like looking over the shoulders of social community managers at DSTV. I started, having friends in that department, and, they exposed me into how they do their things. And Penyo called me and said, hey, dude, my boss, I just resigned, and my boss is looking for someone. We can't find anyone.
Shout out to Eleanor.
Shout out to Eleanor.
I think she was episode
Eleanor.
1 or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to her, bro. Yeah, she. I'm thankful for everything
she
did for me.
For sure.
She gave me an opportunity, and ever since, it's been wild, but ups and downs and everything. But Eleanor gave me an interview, and so as part of the interview, she kind of asked me like, your education background, your interests, how do you use social media? Because at that time I was using social media to kind of spread awareness about my events, and also have social media coverage of the live event. While the event unfolds, people sitting at home could literally follow our social media channels to see things unfold.
So that was your experience on social before, basically.
So she was like, actually that's what we do most of the time, so you're actually a perfect fit here. Just tell us your what you call this?
What's your expectation? Salary expectation?
All that
CTC, talk, all that good stuff.
All that, and when they gave me an offer, I was mind blown.
From the call center to social media management.
I've arrived. This is where I wanted to be. Agency.
For sure.
Even with the friends that I was with in varsity, some of them were already in agencies.
Okay.
Ogilvy's of this world, Joey Public's of this world. So I also wanted to have that experience, since, they've been telling me about how agency life is, the drinking on Fridays.
Especially back then. I think agency life has definitely calmed down, still has its moments, but back then was a different era, I'd say.
It was.
I mean, there's different eras in advertising, but the mid-2010s was,
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So, for us at least, we turned up, bro. But you landed at Aqua, did your thing on the night night shift
campaign, Casper Nyovest campaign. So I think the first campaign that I was exposed to And I mean, shout out to Kristen too, because she took me under the wing and she was like, you know what, we don't have a lot of, because there was so many campaigns. Steven was on MTN 8. I think Cindy was doing something else, so she was like overlooking, because she was like senior when compared to Steven and I. So she was like kind of overlooking at Steven's campaign, or she was helping.
Steven from episode 5 or 8 or something like that.
Shout out to Steven.
Shout
I
out to
heard
Steve
you
Wolf.
also shout me out. So
Word.
I'm returning the favor. So Steven was, I think he was booked on so many other things. So they were like, you know what, we don't have anyone. Go with Kirsten and see how to cover the Casper Vest tour bus to kind of spread awareness on the...
What was the first fill-up? What was it?
It was the second fill-up.
The second fill-up at Dome.
Orlando Stadium. So we get there and here's Casper Vest, bro, live and direct. I see this guy on TV and boom, I'm next to him and we have to literally take a footage of him saying something just for social and MTN. And Kirsten was like, you know what, cool, so Kirsten was like, you know what, I want you to, be the leader on this one. You take a Casper, you kind of direct Casper on what he has to say. You take the footage and everything. And at first, bro, like I'm trying to take this guy a live video and I'm busy shaking because I'm like, I'm starstruck,
Bro, you studied PR, there's no time for that, dude, bro. Yeah,
exactly.
Come on.
So, you know what, I just told him, you know what, my brother, I think you should just take a selfie video of yourself just talking. Boom. And that got us so much engagement. People were interested, like just seeing Casper live and direct from MTN, kind of, promoting this event and inviting people or like kind of directing people on where to buy tickets and all of that and counting down and just creating FOMO. So ever since, Kirsten was just, impressed by the initiative I took to, video yourself from now on. I'm not going to video.
Because you were nervous. You were like, please can you do this yourself?
But in the midst of that, it came across as authentic for social media. And clients were so happy to see that on social media. And they were like, who's doing this? And they were like, X, he's our night shift community manager. And they were like, please keep this guy for this campaign going forward. And that was my big campaign. Having excess of being on the stage while people are performing, and I
was always jealous of you MTN guys. I was working on, I think it was Avis budget at that time, which was cool. I think Mercedes-Benz commercial as well, which was cool. But you guys had the MTN gang basically. It was the MTN and then kind of me and then a couple other team members. So that's also why I didn't really meet you until we did. But then let's talk about it. So I mean, we can talk about 1,000,001 stories, but one that I'll point out is one day the team came and they say, hey guys, we have a shoot that's going on. We need help from the guys. And we look back. Guys, which one of you is comfortable having pictures of your feet taken? And I was like, nah, I got stuff to do. X is like, let's go. I'm like, what? I'm like, all right, bro, that's on you, bro. He's like, I'll be back, sure, bro. You're back about 15 minutes later. I don't think we spoke about it because I was a bit weirded out. What was that about, bro?
That was a bit weird. So I think they wanted to use it as part of their creative. I think it was for some campaign. I just forgot what campaign it was, but it was the creative team, and they wanted to have a mix of obviously
diverse feet.
Diverse feet, and they didn't have a male black person's feet. And I mean, I'm not so shy about my feet. I think I have okay feet. So.
Even with the football player, even with all the
even with that,
in the streets.
Like, I wear sandals like when it's summer, bro.
But I'm old school, bro. I grew up playing sports rough, bro.
I mean,
no position to do that.
But I did that. It is what it is. And they even made comments like, "Oh, you get decent feet." So I was like, you know what? Shout out. This is why I'm here.
Let's get out of there. Let's talk about your. You were the social media team lead. We can talk about that. We don't have to. Now you are moving into the data analyst side of things, insights and data analytics. Tell us a bit about that and why the change.
So, we're gonna go back to the team lead thing,
for sure.
Team lead conversation. Okay, so with data analytics, I think yourself, bro. Like from Eleanor's team, there was always like a reporting part of what we used to do. Kind of reporting back on community.
It's part of the job.
It's part of the job. So I think as part of that, I mean, dude, like a social media manager back in the day was an all-round marketer.
Bro, I used to do the copy, the designs, the driving to the clients. I was like 22 in front of the MD of these things, presenting reports, and that's why I think, especially our peeps, are all the leads of teams and doing crazy stuff because we did everything.
Sure, like you have experience in all these
everything, all parts of digital, almost.
Digital, exactly. So I think, I ran into a place where I was like, you know what, I need a bit of change. I've done a lot of copywriting. I've done a lot of, a creative or opportunity spotting or leveraging on trends that have, performed extraordinarily like before, So the creative part of it, I knew I could do this, in my sleep. I don't want to be confident, but I could do this in my sleep. So I was like, I need something, a bit challenging, something I was not overtly exposed to as much. Every time we had reporting sessions, the data analytics people, when they were talking into like the consumer behavior, how the content influences that behavior, I was so interested in that, and how the community on social media also feeds into that insight. I was always
and how it almost mirrors each other.
Exactly. Tells such a good story for campaigns. You just kind of find your go-to when it comes to creating content. What's the best practice?
And finding those insights.
Exactly.
The insights is what matter.
Having your golden content approach. So I was always interested in that, and I thought, what, I know copywriting, I know creativity, I know all of those disciplines when it comes to digital. I want to learn more about insights and data analytics, and it's pretty much, it hasn't really changed that much. It hasn't really changed that much, considering what we used to do and what I'm doing now. We essentially, informing the next creative strategy. We essentially seeing what works, what doesn't work, how can we better what doesn't work, where is the opportunity of what works, what are the other people that we're in competition with, what are they doing and how are they doing it? You know what I mean? Just to make sure that we have the best way of doing our marketing efforts, if I should say, for lack of a better word. So that's where I was interested in it, and I've been transitioning into kind of taking the social media and community management hat out and just putting in insights and data analytics. I mean, in terms of the thinking, it's two different things, but when you have the experience, as you say, like what we used to do,
everything.
When you have the experience, I think it becomes a joy to work on. You can also use that as an added advantage.
That's dope. You're brave for moving, from one section to another. Especially also this far down the line in your career. I mean, we're still young in the agency stuff, but 100%. It's been years of social media, and now you're moving over to the data and the analytics side of it. So what's your end goal with that?
Well, I think for now I'd rather end where I am. I'd rather grow for now, exactly. But I think
we'll see where the road takes you, man.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see where it takes. But essentially, I think being a multifaceted digital a practitioner, if I should say, digital practitioner, not just PR, not just comms, not just advertising, but like an all-rounder when it comes to that, just having, the skills required and experience, when it comes to, for example, community management. I kind of have that in the back of my mind, but I always need refreshers into what is the latest trends when it comes to that field, creativity when it comes to digital, you know what I mean? Just knowing everything that's around what I'm doing. I think that's my end goal, making sure that, I upskill myself into all these disciplines that influence digital marketing.
Dope. We don't have to talk any further about the social lead stuff. You're not there anymore. Onward and upwards. But we are going to get into the next segment, which is called All Up in Your Business. All Up in Your Business.
Okay.
So I went to your social medias, picked out one or two, couple of things that I want you to explain to us and give some context around.
Okay, cool.
First one is almost a definition of the swag era in the early 2010s. It's a picture of you and I guess your homies at college, I'm guessing.
Yeah, this was university. TT.
Caption is "Hold Up, We Them Boys." Shout out to Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah, shout out to
Tell me about this.
So, we had a friend. He was not. Which is weird. Calvin. Calvin was not a student at TUT. He dated someone who was a student at TUT, and yeah, I mean, he was like an out there guy.
Which one is Kelvin?
He's not even here. He took the picture.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I mean, he had equipment, like proper camera equipment, and at that time, bro, like you're using your Nokia that has a decent camera for that time, but it's not as good looking as that one. Yeah. So yeah, he always had a camera. So he's like, you know what? We chilled with him. We were like more, friends with him, if I should say. He was part of our crew, if I should say, yeah. So there was a day.
He didn't go there though.
Yeah.
There was always that guy on camera. There was always that, but yeah.
Yeah, he owned the camera. So there was a day he was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a picture of you guys, and it was a Friday. I think this day, we wanted to go out, like right
Swagged
across
up.
the school. There was a pub or tavern, I should say. Where we chilled
Yes,
and drank.
it's a tavern.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah.
It's legal.
Yes.
When you say tavern, I guess. It's not an informal trading area. But yeah, I mean, he was like, "You guys look so swagged up today. I want to take images of you guys."
I'm always
so many
Khalifa.
images. And I mean, here it's just the four of us. Yeah. There was other images of the whole crew. I think it was like a good 10 guys, solid 10 guys. And yeah, he just decided to take a picture of us, and yeah, those came out cool. So
this is the definition of the swag era. I'll put a montage of swag era stuff from Google. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
100%.
Next one, Lion's Head Mountain, Cape Town. I love hiking this whenever I get the opportunity. Tell me about your experience.
Hey man, you picking out things that I could talk to, and yeah, they really mean a lot to me. So here, I was with my partner. I mean, now obviously wife.
Yep.
And we decided to just take holiday. We used to do it annually. We'd go to Mpumalanga, and that year we wanted to go to Cape Town, and together we decided to conquer Lion's Head. Wow. Yeah. I mean, from just like a far view of the mountain, I was like, I'm gonna conquer this. No worries, man. But the experience of walking up there, man, like
it's challenging.
Sure.
It's challenging.
I think this, even with the caption, I took it from Dr. Dre's song, All in a Day's Work.
He says, fear is a powerful thing. I mean, it's got a lot of firepower. If you can figure out a way to wrestle that fear to push you away, to push you from behind rather than stand in front of you, that's very powerful. So use that fear to
I
didn't make the connection.
Rather than hold you back. That's Jimmy Iovine, by the way.
Jimmy, Jimmy. Stole everybody's money, but go ahead.
I mean, I respect those guys. I told you, Eminem from being an Aftermath fan. But yeah, I mean, that just...
You made it up there, man.
Yeah, I mean, I made it up. And it was so scary, I'm not going to lie. It's terrifying. But... every time I thought about giving up, I would see Lerato, my partner. She'd be like, nah, baby, we're going up. And I was like, I'm inspired by that. You're pushing me, I'm pushing you. Let's do it.
And you also see little kids as well.
Little kids hiking. I don't think I'll take my kid there,
No, I have to. When I have kids, they have to.
Maybe I'd rather suggest it for him and his friends to do, but I don't want to be there with them.
Why not?
Hey, dude, like there were times where I was climbing up the rocks and one of the rocks just while I was holding it, bro.
It's challenge. It is like towards the end where you gotta kind of like hustle. Yeah. Like the end is
there is no a barrier, kind of shield.
It's just like the chain like ladder or whatever. It's
not much, and there's signs that tell you from here on, you're on your own. That says we are not responsible for anything that happens. So that scares you.
Yeah.
So yeah,
but
that was a good experience.
Guys at home, use your fear to push you instead of hold you back.
Sure.
This one, shout out to this night. This was an office party, 2016 office party for Aqua. Or was it Wonderman at that time?
Yeah, it was Aqua going into
Wonderman at that time, and we had a crazy office party. I don't think we should talk about too much of it. One, I don't remember. Two, we don't want to get in trouble. But tell me about this night.
Sure. Yeah, this night I'm not going to lie. Hey, like shout out to everyone in this picture, man. Like
man.
The people in the picture here made me feel so comfortable, because I had just started 3 months into the job. Couple of months.
I had just kind of met you.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, for you guys to kind of make me feel at home and, you know, feel like as part of the family, shout out to you guys for everyone in this picture. I think when I look at this picture, it just kind of summarized how, you know, receptive and warm everyone in the company still is, obviously, and the people at Aqua were, should I say. You know, yeah, I mean, we decided to just take a picture all together as a fam.
Yeah, man. It really felt like that fam life, man.
Exactly.
We had a lot of good times, a lot of crazy nights.
That night, yeah.
This one is from your Facebook 2017, 12 December. See, man, make the nyugo don't make the man understand.
Exactly.
That's Kulichana, right? Kulichana. Tell me about that. No more hunger.
So I think that was inspired by we just had an event here. We used to make money, hey, and at that time,
with your quarterly events.
Our quarterly event.
Yeah,
so
we had, what was it called again?
Mswenko
Times. Yeah.
Times. I mean, Mswenko Fontaine came after us.
Yes.
So to some extent, I do feel like, you know, that name, I mean, it was the name for everyone.
Yeah, Mswenko was a thing back then. Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. But
so you were seeing some money there and you said, you know what?
Man, you know what I said to myself? I think ever since from here, I mean, I was working at Aqua at that time and I was just saying, you know, the basis or the essence of that quote is, money is never going to define me or like me as a character. You know, I've never been someone who's like more flashy or, you know, someone who's always kind of bragging to their peers about everything I have. So I think
humble dude.
I resonated with that because it kind of defines who I am. I will never be defined by material.
But tell me this: were you at home doing a money phone with the racks from the event?
I mean, I do have some pictures, but I'm not gonna post them. With the racks, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
That's where it comes from.
Last but not least, Still I Rise, Maya Angelou vibes. It's a picture of you. Looks like Durban or KZ or Cape Town. KZN, old school shirt, dope watch to match, view on 100, and you quoting Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. Talk to me about this.
Still I Rise, Maya Angelou vibes, Drake's line.
Yeah. It's not Drake.
It's Drake's line.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess.
I just forgot the name. But yeah.
Teenage Fever? No, I don't know.
I think this was kind of a proof of life image because I hardly post these days. And at this time, I think I hadn't had any social media post for a good year before posting this. So
what was going on? What was going on?
I was in Durban here on holiday.
No, I'm saying why weren't you posting for so long?
Life of a social media manager.
Were you going through? Word. Okay, yeah, I get you.
It kind of gets overwhelming.
It gets way overwhelming. Yeah.
I've made all these brands, big brands in South Africa, just so you know, look good on social media, but I didn't, you know, spend so much time on making myself look good or creating a brand from a social media perspective. So I even till today, I hardly post on social. I don't know why. I need to find that spark or inspiration to, you know, kind of have a social media branding for myself, but I'll work on it one day.
Your next post is going to be this, don't worry about it. But
hundreds, yeah.
But that quote also, while it's beautiful, it can be, are you being divisive? Were you going through it? Were you rising up from something? Or was it just the quote?
Okay. I mean,
talk to me about it, but we homies. This is a safe space.
So I think 2 to 3 years before here, I had lost my dad. And I think ever since then, man, like I lost my dad and my kid. I think I lost my dad in July. My kid was born in September. So that like life was moving so fast for me. So at that time, I just couldn't find time to self-introspect and just find out how I'm feeling, how's everything. And yeah, at this time, I was just trying to, you know, kind of reiterate that with all that has happened to me, and this was in the midst of COVID, you know, there was a lot, you know, there's a lot of deaths around people that close to you or someone you know that, you know, succumbed to a disease or the disease or the actual COVID strain, or some other thing, you know, there was a lot.
Life was happening, bro.
A lot
of life was
happening. You know, there was a lot that was happening for people around. Not just me. So I was just, you know, trying to reiterate that I'm still here, still I rise, Maya Angelou vibes. Still I go on. I'm still the same guy, and nothing has changed. With all the adversity that we face, we're still going on, and we're still going strong.
I knew there was more. Like I said, this is my homies. That's why I had to delve a bit deeper into that. But I mean, we here, man. Like you said, we went through a lot in COVID. People lost a lot of things, lots of opportunities, lots of jobs were lost.
Exactly.
Lots of sadness and despair. If you are able to rise above all of that, and you are here right now watching this, you are blessed.
Yeah.
Shout out to the From A to Z audience right now.
Sure.
You survived all up in your business. It wasn't that bad, was it?
Hey, bro. Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's conversational. So,
Sweet.
Safe space, as you say.
It's safe space, bro. Let's talk about work-life balance. Like you say, you have a wife and a kid. Let's talk about your kid, because we were around each other at the time when you had just found out you were about to have a kid. Imagine we young. This is 5 years younger than we are now, but we young. It's like, yo, bro, I'm like, yo, but you got this. Don't worry, bro. You got this. Whatever you have to do, you're gonna do it. And here you are now. Tell us about that and that work-life balance. How do you make it work?
I think this could serve as as advice for people who are expecting. I think you just need to kind of center yourself around that life, because when I found out that my woman is pregnant, I wasn't ready for it. Actually, I was like, you know what, I'll go with the flow. We'll see how it goes, and then boom, my son was there, and there's so many things I kind of found along the way of raising the kid. He's 4 years old now. 4 years old, turning 4 on the 1st of September.
Turning 4. Okay, so I was
ahead. 3 now.
It was 5-ish years ago. It was that time period when we had just all of this stuff happened very quickly. Like we met quickly had all this fucking cool times and stuff. And then he told me, "Yo, bro, my girl's about to have a kid. What am I gonna?" I'm like, "Bro, you got this, bro. You got this, dude." So he's turning 4 now.
He's turning 4 now. And I mean, he's a handsome boy.
He looks like his mom.
He looks like his mom. A lot of people say that, But I mean, a lot of people that know my family, my dad and I, looking at my baby pictures, a lot of people say, I see more of you, and I mean more of your dad. And obviously, he took the side of your dad from you, so it's fine. I also see a lot of my dad from him. It's crazy how my dad passed on, and then he was here, and I think that's what kept me going. Just seeing my son's face. I'll always see my dad, and how proud, how happy he's always. He's always a happy boy. He's an active boy. My mom always says, "You are 10 times worse than him," but I don't think anyone can be worse than that guy. He's a little tourist, bro. Like, he's so busy, and now I don't think I'm going to be having any other kid anytime soon because of how consumed I am with this boy. So work life, I think working from home has been a blessing in disguise. Considering how these were, decided. It was in response to, a global crisis, which is COVID. And I mean, it works for us, because considering my boy goes to school and, having to I fetch him during working hours, so I can just use a quick lunch break, go get him, and then he's at home while I'm working. So that works for me. I can't lie, that works for me until maybe he goes to primary school, where he comes out later because of extramural activities. But for now, I think I'm comfortable because I'm still delivering everything that I have to do while being a father, taking care of my boy. Because my lady, she's the one that frequently goes to work, and I work from home. So I think it balances out properly for the both of us.
What lessons do you want to teach your son that maybe you didn't get?
I think, I think one thing I know about myself, I probably got it from my parents, is being yourself, man. Like, especially when I got into advertising, there was a lot of characters that kind of inspired me. And these characters, most of the people in advertising are like confident, which is, I think those are the things I kind of lacked. Confident, or I should say cocky, some of them. And some of them were just, smart and assholes,
For
and
sure. Yes.
I would see sometimes, being smart and an asshole in the advertising world worked for them. And I see how much people didn't take advantage of them because they stood their ground, and they would tell people where to get off anytime, And I also wanted to kind of emulate that, but I remembered that this is not who I am. Who I am is always the nice guy. You also spoke about the whole feet picture.
Yes, he'll say yes to almost anything.
Exactly, it's because of who I am. And some of the people, kind of take advantage because of that. But I see, I see a scam when it comes from a mile away. So I know when to stand my ground now, because obviously with all these these responsibilities and roles that I've had, I kind of had to learn into adapting into, you know, kind of what you call the best way to say is pushing back.
Yes.
That's what you say in advertising terms. Pushing back. Yeah, I think that's what I look. But the only thing I, you know, teach him is being yourself, bro. If you're a nice guy, be a nice guy. Don't be an asshole to please your friends. You know? Don't be something that you're not, because it's you're gonna be confused. You're not going to be happy at the end of the day. So
also, as young guys like us going through it, or you know, sometimes you're gonna do stuff to make your friends happy that you don't want to do. You shouldn't be there. Shouldn't be doing that. As long as, you know, the kid knows that he should be cool, be relatable and stuff, but don't be a pushover.
Don't be a pushover.
Stand your ground.
100%. Yeah. And respect, man.
Respect.
And I think the basis of who I am and like what my parents taught me was respecting people. Respect everyone, bro. Everyone you come across, whoever it is, you know me, bro. I'll talk to security guards like they were my friends back at Aqua. I'll talk to, you know, anyone, you know. Like I've never, like it's funny how everywhere I go, I'll talk to people there as if I knew them for a long time. I think that also feeds into my PR side of things, you know, being a people's person and always, you know, having a common language to speak to each and everyone. People coming from different walks of life, and you know,
you used to speak to so many more people than me, and I had been there for longer than you put me onto a couple of the drinking spots. I was like, Jesus.
So I mean, it comes with a lot of, you know, knowing to always respect people, you know, just respect,
especially in this advertising, but it's a big small industry. Like you'll bump into everybody 100%. At some points of your career.
I think there's one. I think I saw this from, I forgot the person. I think it was an article by Proverb. Proverb, I think, was kind of just giving insights onto what has kept him so long into the showbiz and why he's also, you know, he's part of Idols each and every season.
Producing at this point,
just be a pleasure to work with.
Yeah.
Know? People always recommend you. Or whenever your name comes up, people be like, yes, we're working with that guy. So that's just me in a nutshell.
Everybody at home, listen to that nugget of gold and take it and run with it right there. Let's move a bit back to advertising. What is a dream brand you'd want to work on? You've said that you've made so many big brands go boom and all of that stuff. What's a dream brand you'd look forward to working on?
I mean, I've worked for so many dream brands, bro. Like I remember being exposed to PlayStation, doing a FIFA tournament with football stars in South Africa. While I was here at Wonderman, I mean, Wonderman, shout out to this company, man. I've been exposed to quite a lot. You know, if I would tell people the stories of what I've seen, I think it would take a good 2 days just to properly lay it out. But my favorite brand is Nike, guys. And Nike, even till this day, I think their forecasting and like how they tap into pop culture, it's so seamlessly. It's just mind-boggling. I was talking to a friend not so long ago on how the Jordan sponsorship for PSG made more money than Adidas for Messi. Messi's Adidas athlete. And it's crazy, you know, future, you know, like kind of forecasting for Nike to be like, from now on, PSG is going to be sponsored by a Jordan, you know. It made Jordan a lot of money 3 years after. Messi signing for the brand, and everyone wanted a PSG shirt because Messi's such a strong brand in football. Plus, I'm a big sports person. Even from a music perspective, Eminem was sponsored by Jordan. And as I said, my first commercial was Space Jam. Jordan was also part of it. So Nike has been a part of my life, and I think I've always had love for the brand. I like how they communicate out there. I like how they read the room, you know.
Social issues, all of that stuff, dude. On point, on time, relatable, relevant.
They're one of the best. Even their adverts, you know, growing up, you know, when it was a World Cup or Euros or big tournament,
Joga Bonito.
You'd have to wait for a Nike advert.
The Brazil Joga Bonito ad runs through my mind till this day, bro.
So, I mean, from that, I think I've been inspired by the brand, and it's a brand that I look up to, and
speak it into existence. Shout out to somebody at Nike. I hope you're hearing this. Speak to the From A to Z listeners. What do you think they should do in order to enter the industry firstly and stay relevant in it for a long time, because the thing is longevity.
Sure.
We just touched 30.
Sure.
You were social team lead.
Sure.
I'm currently social team lead as well.
Sure.
And now you've created another lane for yourself.
Sure.
So talk to us about that. What should they look out for on the way, and how to get in here and be here and have that longevity?
Yeah, I think with this, I took a lot of lessons from Dipu, who's the current, head of social media for Wonderman, social media and community management. And I think she always preached how we should actively take charge of our career growth, what we want. If you're going to sit and watch a movie and think things are going to come to you, especially there's a lot of graduates in South Africa. I mean, the economy is not so good. I don't know if that influences the lack of job opportunities, and it obviously influences the unemployment rate
definitely
in the country. But for me, is be active in your career. If I was going to sit and say I want a corporate gig, internship vibes, I was still going to be sitting at home looking for jobs. 6 years into it, I decided to go to call center. In a way, call center does also feed into communications. It's a brand, talking to its customers and helping them solve their queries. So in a way, it is interlinked in communications and where I wanted to go. So you need to be you can't look at a job and think, I'm going to earn peanuts there. I'm not going to do that. I think it just comes from, you need to know where you want to go and be active into it. Make sure that you speak to the right people, especially, let's say, when you're in internship or you're a junior into your job. I think the things that they don't tell us from university, or maybe it's a lack of mentorship amongst this generation. I don't know, maybe, but that's just from my perspective. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of mentorship in the career I wanted to go into.
Yeah,
there's not a lot
definitely
of people
not. Yeah.
mentoring me. It was just friends telling me their experience, and I also wanted to experience that. So, no one, HR, your boss, the CEO will not see you if you don't say anything. If you just chilling, doing your work, going home and coming back, and that's just the pattern that you have. Not a lot of people would recognize you. When you start talking to people, or you start being involved in company-related activities or discussions, or you start being pulled into jobs or pitches, that are happening. A lot of people start recognizing you, they start knowing you, and they start kind of recommending jobs in relation to who you are, what your interests are, and because they know you and they know. We've worked with this person before on this.
He's a pleasure to work with.
He's a pleasure to work with.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
Get him in the room.
Exactly. I'm not saying you need to be loud and up in everyone's face, but be active of your growth,
Proactive.
Talk to your leaders. Yeah. Talk to your leaders in terms of how you're doing. Have those one-on-ones. Don't be scared to talk about how you're doing, what can you better, where opportunities of improvements lie, and the next step, if you get all these, if you get all the KPIs correct, if you accomplish all your KPIs, what's the next step, so that you have an idea of, in the next 2 years I'm here doing this and what else. Because people have their own things that they're doing. They've got families, they've got friends, they've got work. So
they're not always going to check up on you.
Always going to check up on you.
Yeah. Be proactive. Got to be proactive. So that's the word. Be proactive. Take it in your own hands. Take your career, take your life, your studies, all of that in your own hands. Your health, all of that.
Sure.
It's all up to you, right?
100%. Yeah.
Any final words for the From A to Z listeners? This has been my man X, Tshabalala. Talk to the people, bro.
Oh yeah, final words. I think it felt like, what do you want people to remember you by?
I purposely don't really like saying that.
Yeah. Okay. What I would like to say, I think resilience. I think in what you want to achieve in your life. As I think this question fits nicely into what I just said before. So it tells a better story, and you need to be, you need to push for yourself. You need to speak for yourself, or your work to speak for yourself, in order people to recognize you. Don't do things if you're not going to do it 100%. I think there is this, we do get drawn into the habit of, I'm working from home, they're not seeing what I'm doing, I'm just going to do my own thing and just give, let me just say, you just give half-hearted work, whereas you could have done, outstanding work, and whoever receives the work could be like, I want this person to do the next job, and it builds on, bro. Every time your name pops up, if there's something happening, people start recognizing you, people start respecting you, and you start forming relationships with people that inspire you, with important people in the industry, and a conversation goes a long way. I mean, we're human at the end of the day. Speak to people, don't force it. I mean, there's a lot of things that we share as a people. I mean, I know people say they hate small talk. I mean, I don't mind it. I'm not going to lie.
Speaking Frastan.
Yeah, if you speak in Frastan,
come on.
That's how I go. You know me. Speaking Frastan, Joe. If the small talk leads into a broader conversation that ties into our interests, let's say music. I'm talking about music with a big boss, and we realize that we actually into the same music. It's a good connection to have. It's not saying that you're going to get a raise, but it's a good thing to start those little conversations that connect you, so that you can get mentorship, as you go on, and they can kind of advise you on what to do, their mistakes, or what you can do to better your journey, things like that. So, yeah.
You heard it from him. Head boy, head of whatever committees, head of the classroom, Mr. Convenient, Mr. Big Head as well. This is my homie, Mxolisi X Tshabalala. Thank you for joining me on the From A to Z podcast, my brother.
Thank you very much for having me. When you texted me and said, hey, bro, it's your turn for people to hear from me, I was like, because I always see these podcasts and I'm like, PK, I talked to you, but you didn't even say anything.
Nah, but when the time was right, and the time was right now. The time is also right for you to go and hit like, subscribe, share, comment, all them things. From A to Z podcast. I'm your host, PK Mukweni, and this has been another banger. We out of here. Bow, bow, bow.
Boom, 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 boom.
From A to Z, it's plain to see. This podcast is about people in my industry.